Take 125. Hi guys, welcome back to the Basement Child podcast. If you're new here, welcome, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Kezia and I am the host of the Basement Child podcast. So first of all, thank you guys for your support and your concern last week. The reason I didn't put out an episode is because I got sick. So how was your week, guys? Yeah, I'm waiting. I want to know how was your week. Come on, share. My week was okay. Since we last had an episode, I went to Montreal, which is a different city here in Canada, and I liked it. I actually like it more than I like Ottawa. Yeah, I like it more than I like Ottawa. The bars, there's a bars in Montreal that's just not here. It's a bit familiar. It's more like Nairobi, but in Europe. You know what I'm saying? It's just cool. Montreal is like a cool city. People are wearing mad, crazy, beautiful outfits. It's just nice. It's nicer. I mean, Ottawa is nice, but Montreal is nicer. Also, I think it's also an age thing because Ottawa is a city that's meant for families, older people. Montreal is youngins. Wow, I really liked it. I don't know if you can tell that I'm trying to say that I really liked Montreal. And then we got back and I was so sick. Oh my God. I just had this cold and my whole body was hurting, and I don't know, it's been a minute since I was sick and it didn't feel good at all. But yeah, I made it out. My voice is still not 100%, but here we are, guys. How are you doing? Thank you, lovers, so much for all your support. The producer remembered to give us some water today. So today's episode is close to my heart, and not in a weird way. I'm not trying to be weird. It's just I was part of this community. When I was part of the church community actively, if you'd get pregnant, I don't know how it is for the churches, but this church that I was in was a bit extreme. That's a correct word. It was a bit extreme. So if you'd get pregnant while you're not married, after you came back, you'd have to apologize to the whole community for letting them down, I think. And it happened a couple of times, and every time it would happen, I would ask myself, why can't they just talk about safe sex instead of having to demonize these people? Because the truth of the matter is 2 out of 50 people are going to get pregnant if they have sex outside marriage, but people are actually having sex, and so I think we need to talk about it. But God forbid you bring up sex in that kind of setting. God forbid. You Jezebel. Anyway, so today's episode, I want to talk about safe sex to my younger sisters, to my sisters of the same age, to my older sisters who are still trying to figure it out. I don't know. I feel sex, safe sex isn't talked about enough. I feel the word sex, if your mom was to bring the word sex up in a room, you'd jump. But it's not supposed to be like that. Sex. We're supposed to be talking about it so that it's when HIV became a thing, the reason why the spread of it is more under control now is because people are talking about it, people are making songs about it. But I feel in church you're just told, don't have sex. They don't tell you what to do if you're in a situation where you're going to have sex, because most likely you are, right? Because your body is your body. And I just hope that one day we'll be talking about sex more openly so that we reduce the number of teenage mothers, we reduce the number of kids that are dropping out of school because they had kids and they didn't know any better, we reduce the number of single moms even, maybe, I don't know, because safe sex applies for both men and women. First of all, I want to put a disclaimer out there that I'm no expert. In fact, I am very much a virgin, but here are some things that I gathered from my friends, from the internet, from wherever I gathered it from, okay? You don't gotta know. The only thing about being a solo podcaster is that you're everything. You're the director of photography, you're the person who gives the host water, you're the freaking host, and if you see me drinking water, I'm just hydrating because the snowy weather in Ottawa right now is not good for my skin, so I'm gonna try water. So I have cards. Because I'm trying to be ready. I'm just trying to, put my thoughts together, and I made cards so that our thoughts are processed in some sort of order and properly. Anyway, point number one, in practicing safe sex, that will be the title of this video. Practicing safe sex. Sex. Talk about it. It's not a bad thing. It's something that's actually happening. Tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell your younger cousins about safe sex. Show them this video if you are too shy to do it, because I understand that not everyone is as outgoing as I am, okay? Point number one is their needs. There has to be consent. There has to be either a yes or a no before you get to the point of having sex. So under consent, I think this is where, according to my age bracket, which is 16 to 24, 16 to maybe your 30s, you should be drinking responsibly, because this is the age where you go out clubbing a lot. It's just the period after you get freedom and the period before you actually have to be full-on adulting and worrying about good credit. Drink responsibly so that you still have the power to say yes or no in case you're in a situation where sex might be hard. If you're a guy, try to make it a point in your life that with every sexual partner you have, you get consent. Just like a one night thing, I just met you, make it a point to hear a yes or a no. You don't have to be direct about it. You can be, but there's ways to get consent. There's ways to get a green flag before you put your penis in someone's vagina. Are you scared? Why are you scared? Don't you have a penis? Don't you have a vagina? Be responsible. Don't drink with people who don't care about you, because unfortunately, people in this world take advantage of vulnerable people. And I believe that if you're drunk, you're vulnerable. So take the responsibility upon yourself and drink responsibly, so that you still have the power to say yes or no before the activity of sex happens. Yeah, I think I'd be a great teacher. Number two, you are allowed to change your mind. This is both, the advice I'm giving is for both men and women. You could get there, you said yes at the club, and this guy takes you home or to the Airbnb or whatever, and you get there and you start feeling uncomfortable, or you start feeling or you see something that makes you want to change your mind. There's no rule that says you can't change your mind after giving consent. Changing your mind is part of the consent. You're allowed to say, just one moment, sir. excuse me, I have something to say, ma'am. I actually changed my mind. Yeah. You're allowed to be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like a relationship. How come when you're in a relationship you could get married to someone and get divorced, but then like when it comes to sex you can't say no? Who said that? You can actually say no, girl or boy. Yeah. Number 3, use motherfucking protection. I can't stress this enough. They say like the best way to be safe during sex is use a condom every single time. A condom is just one of the protection you could use. So for women, also protection means you're protecting yourself from unwanted pregnancies. Make a point to go to your gynecologist. I know in Kenya, like in public hospitals, they usually partner with Maristops and you could get free contraception. I don't know about other countries. Damn, I need to do my research, don't I? But like, use motherfucking protection every single time. It just helps you avoid so many things. And someone will try to be like, oh, I'm allergic to condoms. Boy, you know better. Oh, like, just use condoms, okay? At least use condoms. Be part of being responsible and having power and taking care of yourself is going to the gynecologist and making sure that you get contraception that works for you, because different contraception does different things to different people. So don't follow like celebrities' advice or your friends or your sister's advice. You can ask what they're using, but actually go to the hospital, let the doctor examine you to know which protection works best for you, which contraception works best for you. But use condoms. I even hear that like they're free in some places, so do that. Use condoms. Before I go to number 4, there is someone who knows someone that got pregnant on their first attempt of having sex. Like, imagine getting pregnant on your first time. So this is what I'm gonna tell you, girl. If you have sex without condoms, which you shouldn't be, there's a chance that you might get pregnant. Okay? So what you do, you go to the chemist or the pharmacy or whatever you want to call it and ask for emergency emergency contraception, which is, other people call it P2, other people call it Plan B, whatever you want to call it. It will help. You need to do it 72 hours, within 72 hours after you had sex, so that it stops either the release of an egg or the fertilization of an egg, so that you don't get pregnant. I don't know how that works, but if you have sex without protection, go to the pharmacy and ask for Plan B, P2, or emergency contraception to prevent yourself from getting pregnant without wanting to be pregnant, because that's a situation we do not want to happen to you if you listen to the Basement Child podcast. Yeah. Number 4, which is my next point, is hygiene is key. Hygiene is key, okay? Shower, be clean down there. Don't spray things under there, because first of all, vagina smells like vagina. It doesn't smell like flowers, but it just smells like vagina when it's clean and well taken care of. Have as little hair as possible. Hygiene also means have as few sexual partners at a go as possible. Hygiene also means don't have sex at all. I don't know about that, but like, hygiene is key when it comes to practicing safe sex. Like, shower. If this man or woman smells funny, don't do it, okay? They're not your child for you to remind them to shower. So just take care of yourself, be responsible, have few sexual partners, shower, okay? Yeah. The next one, I was gonna do it together with hygiene, but then I realized this one needs its own point. Pee after sex. Yeah, as simple as that. When you guys are done doing whatever you're doing, stand up, go pee. Boy, if she forgets, please have her go pee, because it will just be better for everyone if there's no infection after. So what peeing does is it pushes out the bacteria that went in while you were having sex. So it pushes out the bacteria and reduces your chance of having an infection. Like, reduces your chance of having an infection. So take care of yourself in that way. Pee after sex. That's another way of practicing safe sex. Can you tell that I'm shy talking about this? Let me tell you guys something. My mom, I remember when I was 12, I first got my period when I was 12. Getting your period is when, like, the society is like, you're now a woman, you could get pregnant anytime now. And my mom started to talk to me about sex and pregnancy, like, I think when I was 12. And it helped me so much, because now we could talk about anything. Even though I'm a virgin, I do not see at any point where I would be afraid to go approach both my parents, actually my mom and dad, to talk about sex, whether like in a good way or in a bad way. And for us to create those environments of safety around sex is by actually talking about it. It's like mental health. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed about. So I really appreciate that side of my life, because now I'm not shy. And if I feel taken advantage of, I think I could tell my parents. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to say. So let's like actually talk about it. I really do not like it. I would never be part of a community ever again that demonizes sex, because the reality is it's happening. And I think it deserves the same attention as mental health. It deserves the same attention as like every other topic. So yeah, point number 6, there's no such thing as painful sex. Yeah, sex is not supposed to be painful. I suggest that if you feel sudden like pain, or like during the activity something just happens and you feel pain, you need to see a doctor to find out what the issue is, because sex, according to my research and the reading that I'm doing, is not supposed to be painful. And if it is, do not ignore it. Actually go to a freaking hospital. Number 7, talk about it openly with friends and family. Yeah, so I feel like another way we could reduce teenage pregnancies or like diseases from spreading is if you're feeling unsure about what to do, especially if it's your first time. If you're feeling unsure about what to do, find a circle of friends at least who are open enough, like open-minded enough to talk about it. To talk about sex. Like, oh, you guys, when I go there, like, I feel like as a woman or a man, you could always tell if you're going to have sex with someone later that day, or like later in your hangouts or whatever. So if you're feeling unsure, just like text up your friend. The worst that could happen is they'll probably answer you. So just be like, okay, so I'm going to meet this guy and I don't know what to do. Then that opens a channel for us as women and men to be responsible for each other. Because I feel like if you take my advice from this video today, if you take advice from your friend, another friend today, maybe your mom or your cool aunt or your brother or your uncle or whatever, and put it together while you're by yourself, I feel like you'd be able to come up with a responsible decision when it comes to sex. But as opposed to like just like pondering on like yourself about it, or like thinking about it, or I don't know, getting your advice from like porn or whatever random place, if you talk about it with people, it puts you in a position whereby you're at least able to make an 80% informed decision. Otherwise, if we keep it a secret and act like it doesn't happen, that's when people are getting sick, people are getting raped and not being able to talk about it. I'm sorry, I should have put a trigger warning, but like, let's talk about it with your friends. Create a circle around you where you can talk about anything, including sex. So not only the good stuff, not only the sad stuff, but if you are in a circle of friends and you're unable to talk about sex, I suggest that you find a different circle, because like sex is actually a thing. So let's talk about it, because it eliminates so many things when it's like a normal topic like any other. Point number 8. Oh my god, I feel like I'm doing such a good job. I could be a freaking doctor. I could be a freaking doctor. Couldn't I be? No, maybe a teacher. Or maybe like a peer counselor. Oh, I forget that it makes a noise. Anyway, if you indulge, do it with someone who has a brain. If you decide to have sex, pima huyu mtu akili. Pime akili, listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're talking about. Try to like have sex with people who are responsible, so that in case you need emergency contraception, maybe this person could at least pay for it, or like come up with half the money to do it, you know. Don't like live your whole life. First of all, you're not supposed to like let a man be responsible for your life. At least have some dough so that you're able to do it. But also it's safer to like have sex with someone who has a brain and knows that in case shit goes down, they should have condoms. First of all, they should be able to pay for your emergency contraception and actually like walk up to the counter and ask for it, or like be able to have knowledge like, oh, we could order it, or you need this, and tell you immediately, not telling you 3 days after. Yeah, have sex with people who have a brain. Number 9, which is the final point of today, abstain. If you're looking for a man to have sex with you, look away. Okay? The safest way of practicing sex is not having it at all. I said what I said. I said what I said. I said what I said. Yeah, just don't do it. Be like me. So I have a few myths that I wanna talk about briefly. Not a few, 2 myths. So number 1, safe days. Don't trust that flow calendar. It means nothing. Your body does whatever it wants to do and doesn't listen to that calendar. So every time you have sex, use a condom. The second myth that I hate this so much. Mtoto hukuja na sahani yake. You know what that means? For those who don't speak Swahili, it means that when you have a child, they come with their own silver platter from wherever people think it comes from. Let me tell you something. It doesn't happen like that. And I know you'll argue with me and show me examples of people who their lives became better after having a kid. It's only because they had positioned themselves in a way that their life could become better. So there was already a possibility of like having a good life because they were working, or they had income, or they had like permanent contracts or something like that. But if you accidentally get pregnant and decide to keep this child because you think this child will bring you, I don't know, miraculous blessings, it doesn't work like that. Even the Bible says faith without works is nothing. So before you have a kid, I saw a thread on Twitter about Kenyan students sharing about how their parents had neglected them. So it was like someone would send messages of them asking their parents for money for like basic shit like food, and their parents would just be like, would respond with a very mean response, or like not respond at all. And it broke my heart, because I believe that when you make the decision of having a child, you have decided that you will forever take care of this human being. Because for all you know, you could give birth to a child with maybe a disability, and maybe their brain develops slowly, and by the time they're 24, they have the brain of a 10 or 6-year-old. You know, that means that you have to take care of that child regardless. If you send me to uni, I don't have a job. As my parents, at least meet me halfway. At least like make sure I have housing or like food. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very passionate about the topic of like safe sex. Because our parents, like from before, were just having babies to make, I don't know, their in-laws happy, or because, oops, we found ourselves here, and then now they're unable to take care of us, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand, like, why. It could be a thing of like teaching you responsibility, but also it could also be a thing of evading responsibility. And I really do not appreciate that, parents. Thank God that my parents take care of me, but like I know so many people, and that thread, like there were so many people who are like, my dad hasn't spoken to me in like since I came to school, which is like 4 months ago, and my house is being locked and he doesn't give a shit. Or like sends 200 shillings. What is 200 shillings going to do? Come on, man, let's do better than our parents. Let's do better than the generation before us. And which brings me to my final point, which I will not talk too much about, but in the case where, as a woman, you had sex and you got pregnant accidentally, so like an unwanted pregnancy, just know that there's options. No matter what country you're in, no matter what the law says, no matter what, think of yourself first. Because whether you have this kid or not, whether you go through with it or not, like the pregnancy, people will talk about you. So if you're thinking with other people's brains and saying, oh, they'll say this, they'll say that, think again. Think about you first. Like if you look at yourself, are you mentally able to take care of a child? Are you able to be a good example? Are you able to spread your personal confidence to your child? Are you able to spread your good? Are you able to educate this child? Are you able to? There's so much to think about. So if you ever get pregnant and you feel like you want to keep it, good for you. Cheers to you. I hope you I hope you have a healthy baby. But if you don't want to keep this baby, there's options, and let no one ever make you feel like you have to keep this child. Or like this, let me say this pregnancy, because it takes time before it's an actual child. And I know like the people from the church will come at me, but I've been in a church community before, and I've seen how women who decide to have babies and are unable to support these kids are treated. And trust me, if you're not ready to have a child by yourself, or like if your partner is not ready to bring up a child, I think let's just be reasonable. Let's be real about the world state right now. You don't have to have the freaking child. Yeah, no, tumia akili before ulale na mtu, tumia akili. Like use your brain. Don't just be out here being careless. Don't be out here trusting people you're not supposed to be trusting. Don't be out here acting like sex doesn't actually happen. Yeah, so that's it for today, guys. It's taken me so much to shoot this episode. I was gonna do it like with someone else so that it's a bit more relaxed, but I guess we're not there yet. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please follow me on my Spotify, guys. Please. And I see like the views are going up, but the subscription is, neither here nor there. So follow me on Spotify, follow me on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on my YouTube channel. Please comment on your opinions, contribute to the discussion. Don't just be a spectator. Yeah, that's it for this week. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.